Working together, we've made tremendous progress, and I'm proud to report that the state of our state is strong.
Yes, our state, ladies and gentlemen, is strong, but some Marylanders protested last weekend outside the mansion, urging the governor to speak out against President Trump's policies and cabinet nominees. And obviously you've thought about this well. I mean, you've really thought about this. What's your reasoning for kind of not getting involved?
Well, you know, I'm elected by the people of Maryland to run the state of Maryland and to deal with the problems of Maryland. And last week I had my State of the State where we totally focused on 31 different proposals. We touched on every area of everything that needs to happen in our state. And people have every right to protest and every right to be upset, but they were demanding that I join the protests, and they thought that my State of the State should be condemning President Trump rather than focused on Maryland. And I just happen to disagree and don't think that that's my role. We have 8 members of Congress and 2 senators, and people that are upset and concerned about things have every right to protest, and they should be contacting their folks in Washington. But for them to demand that I protest against the president doesn't make any sense. It's not what my job is.
All right, I understand that, and we all get that. But so let me ask you. You've certainly watched a lot of news on television. What are your thoughts about some of the chaos that's happened in the past 3 weeks?
I think it's unfortunate, and I think we've got to find a way to bring the country together. But again, I'm not a spokesman for the administration, as it didn't support the president in his campaign. But I hope that he's successful now, just like I did for the previous president. And I hope to have a good relationship, and we hope to get some good things done for the people of Maryland. But I don't want to speculate about what might happen and just second guess what's going on in Washington. I didn't run for president, and I'm not a member of Congress.
Are you about to announce your presidency?
No, I'm going to stick to the day job.
Okay, so we have a lot to discuss. Let's start with your war against distributors of opioids used to treat moderate to severe pain. And they can be addicting, as you know, and some people get hooked on them to make them high. Fentanyl, hydrocodone, methadone, oxycodone, heroin, Percocet, and so much more. And I know you want the legislature to create a felony punishable by up to 30 years for folks who distribute this stuff and cause tragically someone's death. I know you're very strong about opioids and heroin and so forth. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is a crisis that is affecting people all across the nation and tearing apart families and communities from one end of the country to the other. And it's out of control. And here in Maryland, particularly in Baltimore, but all across the state, every year we double the number of deaths. When I was running for governor, I knew that heroin and opioids were a problem, but I wasn't aware of how widespread it was. Everywhere I went, from wealthy suburban communities to tiny rural towns to the city, I would say, what's the number one problem facing your community? And it was always the same answer. It was heroin. And so I promised that we would shine. Nobody was talking about it back then. I said we were going to shine a light on this problem and try to bring a bunch of smart people together to come up with as many solutions as we can. I appointed Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford to chair a task force, which went around the state, got input. Hundreds of people showed up at all these regional hearings. And we heard from parents and people that have been through treatment and law enforcement officials. And we came up with 31 recommendations, all of which we were working to implement from last year. And we have some new ones this year to help provide more treatment and to get tougher on the people who are distributing heroin with fentanyl, which is the newest problem. It's a synthetic drug that is 100 times more powerful and is killing people the first time they even touch the drugs. So it's an issue that we got to focus on. It's going to take the federal, state, local government, community organizations, faith-based organizations.
Is there cooperation you're finding focus on this? Or
I don't think people are not focused on it enough. I mean, the state is focused, and some communities are, and some are doing better than others. But I got together with, I believe, 46 or 47 of my colleagues in the National Governors Association, calling on the federal government to spend more money and focus on this attention because it's a national problem.
All right. You mentioned the city, and before I move on, I want to talk about your miracle cure. What is your relationship with the city and with Mayor Pugh and your interest in Baltimore?
Well, I have an excellent relationship.
And the violence problem here.
Yeah, I have an excellent relationship with the new mayor. We have had a good relationship for quite some time. When she was in the Senate of Maryland, we got along great.
Right.
I was at her inauguration. I've spent quite a bit of time with her. I'm going to be with her again later today. We've sat down multiple times, just in the short period of time that she has been mayor, to talk about how the state might work together with the city to solve a lot of problems. We're in agreement on a lot of things. We're trying to help improve education in the city. We're trying to help them crack down on the crime and the violence in the city. We're trying to create more jobs in the city with our new manufacturing jobs initiative, which could bring thousands of jobs into the city. Job training, record funding for education. But it's a really good working relationship, and much better, I'll say, than we had with the previous mayor. And I'm encouraged by that, and we get along great with with Jack Young and Mayor Pugh and most of the city leaders. And Baltimore is the heart and soul of Maryland. It's the most important city, and it's something we got to do everything we can to help the city.
We all wish you well about doing that for Baltimore, because there were some issues here, particularly the violence.
Yeah.
Your health scare. Now, this is 60 days after the unrest in Baltimore that followed the tragic death of Freddie Gray. You were diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a cancer that develops in the lymphatic system. Here you are explaining this and breaking hearts all over the state. These cells called lymphocytes, which is a type of white blood cell that helps the body fight infection. And over the next 5 months, 30 days of aggressive therapy, 24-hour chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, spinal tap scans, drugs, other procedures. And then, believe it or not, on November 16th, what does this gentleman do? He has a PET scan and goes on TV at the University Medical Center, University of Maryland, and announces you're 100% cancer-free. So we're all clapping about that. How was that?
Well, it was
horrible.
You know, I came into office with a whole set of things that I knew had to be done and that I was going to focus on, but things in life sometimes hit you from out of the blue. So 89 days after I was governor, the riots broke out, and we had to deal with that crisis. And then about 60 days later, another out of the blue, more personal crisis where I just got this diagnosis that I was feeling fine. I didn't know I was sick, and I got 3 doctors I just met for the first time telling me I had very advanced and very aggressive cancer that had spread all over my body. And so I went through 24-hour-a-day chemotherapy during a 5 or 6 month period, and it was a tremendous team of doctors and nurses at the University of Maryland Medical Center, and wonderful prayers from people all over the state and around the country. And I just been very thankful that I met so many incredible people going through this that were fighting tougher battles than my own. After I went through the 6 months of 24-hour chemotherapy and the surgeries and all that, I did another 12 months of kind of chemo maintenance. So I was taking a chemo pill every day and going back once a month. And I just really ended in November of last year. So it's been a few months. My hair is coming back, and I'm feeling.
Your hair's beautiful, sir, really.
I'm feeling stronger, and just very happy and thankful for getting through it.
We're all delighted
Thank
about
you.
that. We'll be back. We'll take a look at some of your programs, proposals. Back with Governor Hogan in just a couple of seconds.